Hey, welcome to Family Friendly Movie Picks, where I, Mr. John, give you my list of 3 hidden gems that you and the family are sure to love. I love movies. Movies can make you laugh, they'll make you cry, show you new worlds, teach you about history, and take you on adventures. So if you like movies like I do, be sure and like and subscribe so each week you can find out my new picks for the week. Each week, I'm going to give you 3 different movies that I think are awesome and I think you'll like them too. And they're going to be a variety because I know all different people like all different types of movies. So I'm going to give you an animated pick, a movie musical pick, and a live action pick. Every movie I give you, you're going to be able to find it somewhere to stream. You just Google it, and you might have to spend $4 or $5, but you'll find it on sites like Amazon Prime, Hulu, iTunes, or YouTube. Just Google it. You'll find it. And when's the last time the whole family watched a movie for about $5? Okay, one last thing before we jump into this week's picks. I know that every family has different standards for what they allow the family to watch. Most of the movies I pick are either going to be G or PG. Now parents, remember those movies that we saw when we were a kid that were PG? If they came out today, they'd probably be rated PG-13 or maybe even R. So I want to let you know about a resource that I love and I use for picking out movies for my own family. It's called Common Sense Media. Common Sense Media reviews movies as well as books, TV, video games, apps, music, websites, and it rates them for age appropriateness, violence, sex, profanity. So parents, you can decide on what's appropriate in your house. And we'll put a link to that below. So without further ado, here we go with my 3 picks. And I got a secret, hidden, common theme in all 3 of those. See if you can guess what it is, and I'll reveal it at the end of the video. My first pick this week, I hope you're gonna love it. It's called The Iron Giant. The Iron Giant is the story of a gigantic metal robot that fell from outer space to a small town in the late 50s. And a young boy named Hogarth Hughes finds the robot and becomes friends with him. But soon the government and the army find out about the giant and they seek him out to destroy him because they think he might be a secret weapon that one of America's enemies unleashed on this small town. As Hogarth tries to save the Iron Giant, the big guy finds his own humanity and saves the town from their fears and prejudices. Now, I like this movie for a lot of reasons, and one of the biggest reasons is the guy that made it. His name is Brad Bird. Iron Giant was the first movie that he directed. Now, you might be wondering, who is this guy, Brad Bird? Well, he went to school with other great filmmakers like John Lasseter. He's the guy that started a little company called Pixar, and director Tim Burton, who made a lot of cool movies too. Bird started out as an animator at Disney and worked on classics like The Fox and the Hound and The Black Cauldron. He also wrote a movie called Batteries Not Included. Now here's a spoiler alert, that will probably be one of my picks in an upcoming video. But where Brad Bird really made his mark was when he teamed up with his old classmate Lasseter and directed movies like The Incredibles, Ratatouille, and The Incredibles 2. Now, unlike the Pixar movies where everything you see is made with a computer, The Iron Giant is old school animation where artists painstakingly draw by hand everything you see to make the animation come to life. This was one of the earliest films to incorporate computer-generated imagery alongside traditional animation. The robot was all drawn with a computer and all the other characters and backgrounds were drawn by hand. As families watch this together, everybody in the family is going to get something out of it. Kids, you're going to love the action scenes. He flies, he shoots, there's battles. And what kid wouldn't like to have their own giant as a pet? Parents, you're going to get something else out of this. You're going to find those tender, touching moments as this movie deals with fear, hate, death, and humanity. Kids, you might even want to get some tissues on hand for mom and dad. And when you're done with this movie, if you just can't get enough of this story, you can actually go and check out the book that this movie was based on. It's an old 1968 science fiction book called Iron Man, a children's story in 5 nights. And it was written by British poet laureate Ted Hughes. Kids, if you love math, science, rockets, or any part of the STEM program, you are gonna love this next pick. October Sky is a live-action PG movie based on the true story of a high school student that decides instead of being a coal miner like his dad, he wants to study and build rockets. The lead character, Homer Hickman, and his friends are inspired when they watched the Russians launch the first satellite into space. This is a great movie for upper elementary students. It's a movie for dreamers, about dreamers. It's about going for your goal when the odds are against you and not a lot of people believe in you. This movie does a great job of capturing small town in a simpler time in the 1950s. It's got a great soundtrack. You're going to hear hits by artists like Elvis, Buddy Holly, The Coaster, Fats Domino. You're going to peek into the dangerous and scary life of a coal miner and see what it looks like as they plummet deep below the Earth's crust to go to work every day in a dark cave. If after watching this movie you're interested more in this story, this also is based off a book called Rocket Boys. And here's something I bet you didn't know. Rocket Boys is an anagram for October Sky. You ever wanted to play a trombone in a marching band? Is Main Street, USA your favorite part of Disneyland? Have you ever wanted to break out into song and dance in a library while the librarian is shushing you? If you've answered yes to these questions, then this next movie is gonna be one you'll like. It's called The Music Man. The Music Man is about a tiny town in the 1900s. This is before Amazon, when there were traveling salesmen that went from town to town selling goods. Well, one of these traveling salesmen, Harold Hill, comes to the sleepy little town of River City, and he's got one thing in mind, tricking all the townsfolk into thinking he is forming a boys' band just so he can cheat them out of all their money for uniforms and instruments. And it looks like he might get away with it too, unless the town's nosy librarian and bumbling mayor have anything to do with it. This is a classical music from the golden age of musicals, and I think it's one of the best representations of a stage musical ever filmed. It has great music by Meredith Willson. You're gonna find yourself singing along and tapping your feet to songs like Marion the Librarian, 76 Trombones, and the Shapoopy. So those are my 3 movie picks for the week. I hope you like the movies. I love these movies. Oh, and did you find out what theme ran through each one? How about this? Today's episode is brought to you by the letter H. That's right, the lead characters in each movie have a first and a last name that starts with H. Professor Harold Hill, Homer Hickman, and Hogarth Hughes. Be sure and like and subscribe and join us next week as I give you 3 more picks that I think you'll love.